Mayor, my lords, ladies and gentlemen, this luncheon constitutes an important milestone in the history of the Chapel Fund. And at this stage I'm going to retire for the moment in favour of Mr. Arthur Rank and Sir Philip Water.
Excellency, my Lord Mayor, my Lords, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a great pleasure and a privilege for the Odeon and Gaumont cinemas to give the opportunity to the man in the street to contribute to this wonderful memorial fund to commemorate the sacrifices of the members of the American services. It's a very great pleasure that I hand over these 2 cheques to you, Sir Clark. Thank you, sir.
It is my privilege, Mr. Chairman, to hand you a cheque which represents the collections of hundreds of thousands of patrons of Associated British Cinemas. This fund appeals without doubt to everyone in this country as symbolizing our gratitude for what the American forces did. And I look forward with great anticipation to this chapel, which will make it possible for not only the people in this country but our American visitors to pay tribute to what they did.
Experience and his enthusiasm as a member of council and of our executive. I would remind you, ladies and gentlemen, that the purposes of the appeal launched in November 45 was to create a chapel at the eastern end, in the apse at the eastern end of St. Paul's Cathedral, as a permanent memorial of the sacrifices of our 2 peoples in the World War just then brought to a victorious conclusion. This memorial, as you will recall, had the warm approval of their Majesties the King and the Queen, and of Mr. Wynant, your distinguished predecessor, Mr. Douglas, then American ambassador in this country, who had won the affection and esteem of Britishers by his high character and his selfless devotion to the Allied cause. A roll of honour which would be handed to the Dean and Chapter for safekeeping in the Cathedral. The chapel will serve specially to commemorate those Americans of the armed forces who either lost their lives and have been buried in this country, or who lost their lives in operations when based upon the British Isles. Whilst this chapel will therefore serve specially to commemorate these valiant American dead, it will become, so we devoutly believe, a shrine to which a steady pilgrimage of Americans will come to pay a tribute to their countrymen fallen in our common fight for freedom. Cathedral of the Empire. There sleep some of our bravest and our best. Our greatest sea captain and the conqueror of... Our first appeal for funds met with an instant and a most encouraging response. But as you know, our for his generous action and public spirit. We could only secure, however, the money we needed and enlist the interest and help of the mass of the people through the 3 big circuits. And therefore I turn to Mr. Arthur Rank, Sir Philip Water, and Mr. Milder. I cannot imagine anyone meeting with a kinder, more understanding, or more enthusiastic response. Indeed, it was rather as fellow enthusiasts that they received me and assured me that the whole of their vast organizations would be geared to the appeal when the right time came. All bear witness. And now the American Memorial Fund is the latest beneficiary of their patriotic and public-spirited interest in a truly national cause. May I summarize very briefly then the position we have reached today? Firstly, the joint efforts of the cinema industry and of the W.B.S. and the generous support we have received from other sources have relieved us of any anxiety on grounds of finance. We do not yet know what the ultimate cost will be, but we can now proceed in confidence that we shall be able to create a lasting and a worthy record and a worthy memorial to our American comrades.
Mayor, my lords, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very glad indeed to be present on this occasion and to have an opportunity to express the gratitude of my countrymen for all those who have contributed so notably to this American Memorial Chapel Fund. To the Anglo-British Commonwealth Association, to the English-speaking union with which it was subsequently consolidated, to the British moving picture industry who made its facilities available, to Lady Reading and her intrepid, industrious, and enthusiastic corps of helpers, to all of them, I should like to express the gratitude of my countrymen. And if your emotions toward them are as deep, I can assure you that we respond toward yours, for we shall never forget the gallantry, we shall never forget the heroism and the bravery of that corps of citizens of Britain and of the Commonwealth, who during those days when you were standing as the solitary knight in defense of Western Christendom, they we shall never forget. And may the spirits of those who are dead and the convictions of those who are alive move us closer together so that in the future we may march arm in arm and shoulder to shoulder as we have in the past. On this, the future hangs.
Yeah.